Hi, it's Andrea with the AM Realty Group, and today's spotlight is going to talk about foundations. So here I have my neighbor Way. We're in Star Creek, where we're fellow neighbors, and we're seeing some foundation and some wear and tear on our homes as our communities are approaching 10 to 15 years old. And he's going to share with us what's going on with his home.
Hi, I'm Way. Some people say you should never trust a bald barber, but here we are. My house is about 15 years old, and we started seeing some slight cracks about a year or two back, and over this last summer it really did a number on our house. So my house is actually on deck to get repaired this spring, but did want to walk you through a couple of things that we've seen in our house and that you should keep an eye out in your homes, and if you have any issues, we can help you out.
Yes, and as he's saying, we're talking, he works for Elite Foundation, and so there's nothing more interesting than finding, the issues that you work on every day in other people's homes, right in your very home. So he's going to show us what he sees.
We'll start with the smallest crack. Sometimes you'll see some little drywall cracks and maybe due to craftsmanship, but whenever they come out in a diagonal, like we see here, a lot of this is due to foundation movement or a slope in the house. So this is a real slight one. If we don't do anything about it in a year or two, this is probably going to get significantly bigger. I would doubt that it would make it through another summer. And if we look up high, you'll see right on the ceiling, the front of my house has dropped about 1.5 inches, and you can see that drywall crack really starting to separate at the ceiling. All right, so the most obvious sign of interior movement that we have with our foundation would be our tiles. If we go down to the tile right now, this crack started about 2 years ago, and when we first saw it, I thought it was my wife's hair laying on the floor, but as time went by, the crack got bigger and bigger, and this year and my daughter almost tripped over it, but this is kind of one of the first signs. If you look over towards the wood floor, you can see some of the wood floor starting to separate.
Yep, I see that.
You get about 1/4 inch separation along this wood floor, and that's from the house, again, dropping about 1.5 inches towards the front. That's separating that wood floor. All right, so one of the most common false alarms or calls that we get that doesn't really indicate foundation issues would be the corner of our houses. So in the corner of our house, sometimes you'll get a little crack right here or some patching from a previous owner, and people think that's indicative of a foundation issue. It's generally not. It's a longer explanation. If you're interested, give me a call. I'll walk you through it. But what you want to look out for when you walk the outside of the house is what's going on up high. So you can see here, this is called a freeze board. You see the two pieces of wood. When this house was built 15 years ago, that wood stuck together. And you can see there's a gap between the wood and the brick there too. That's indicative of the brick moving forward. So we've got some spacing there. That's a problem with your foundation, because when the foundation starts to move at the bottom, up high will start shifting, and that's really where you're going to see more signs of movement. If we come further down, houses in Star Creek were built recently, so most of them have an expansion joint. Older houses, 30 years old, they may not be built with expansion joints, which is this putty right here between the grout. So older houses, you would see a stair step cracking along your bricks. Newer houses are designed for the movement. Whenever it moves, the expansion joint's gonna open up. You can see it's nice and tight at the bottom, but as the house fell forward, it opens up because the house, again, is dropping about 1.5 inches towards the front.
So again, I would just like to thank Way for coming out and sharing with us his home. And I would like to encourage any of you homeowners who are walking in your home and seeing some cracks in the ground or anything that makes you think you may want to take a look at it, have him come out. It doesn't cost you anything. He's extremely trustworthy, and it would just be worthwhile for you to understand and get some baseline measurements. So in future years, if anything does happen, you kind of have an idea what shifted. Thank you so much for your time, and we really appreciate bringing this to you today.
Thank you. Yes, give us a call for a free evaluation at 469-605-0026.